Coming from a place of compassion, we normally, our instincts are to be irritated with that third party trying to influence the decision, when we realize that more than likely they're just trying to protect that family member. I don't want them to be involved. I think they should be involved. Aren't they important to you? Yeah, they are. Do you value their opinion? Yeah, I do. Well, I should be addressing them as much as you so that we as a committee can decide what's best for you. That language, decide as a committee, having a group session, I'm injecting myself into the decision-making process. I become the teacher, the guide, the leader. My name is Barry Jenkins, for those of you that are new on this call, and I run an 80-agent teamerage in Virginia Beach, and I wrote a best-selling book called Too Nice for Sales that I haven't checked in the last month, but it's remained in the top 20 for quite some time on Amazon and real estate for lead conversion. And the team at Mescula has asked me to speak to their users every week for 30 minutes. Where I really feel like you're going to get off this call and you're going to grow is when each of you or one of you shares your specific wins or challenges, and then you and I collaborate, but we do it in a way to where I'm actually teaching others how to help them grow in a similar fashion. So this is where your participation is going to benefit you. So I want you to think back for a moment over the last week or 2 weeks, and I want you to think about your leads, and I want you to think about any instances that stand out. Now, these could be negative instances, and you're not being negative, okay? This is your chance to share your struggles. So you're challenged by leads not answering the phone. You're challenged by leads, saying things like, "Oh, I just want a CMA. Can you just send it to me?" Right? And so we talk about that. Or I always love to hear, "I did what you said, Barry, and it worked." Right? So that's perfectly appropriate as well. So does anybody have, when they think about the last couple weeks in their business, has anybody had a situation that stood out one way or the other that we can kick off this time together with?
What I found with my leads that I gave a call to, a lot of them are just really curious about the market. And it seems like they're just, 12 months plus away. And I know obviously there has to be some nurturing that's going to happen here. And that's what I'll have to do, which is fine. Totally. I've had some great conversations. I guess I'm just trying to say that that's what I seem to come across, is that people are really uncertain about the market. They just want to know what's happening. So they're not necessarily ready, but it's just like long, it's a year or two away, which is fine again. But, and obviously we can't rush people, but that's what I'm finding. And and I just maybe some approaches around that.
So it's funny because I use fishing analogies a lot, and I really don't fish very often, but it just makes sense, right? We're trying to catch clients. And if you think about like catching a fish with your hands, if you've ever seen those videos, like, they're slippery, right? And that's sometimes how it is when we get these leads on the phone. They're just like, I'm waiting a year, not really that serious, just curious, not ready, all of the reasons. So I'm interested, when you think about just some of them, do you recall any of them either having reasons why they were waiting a year, or did many of them give kind of vague responses, maybe like, "Oh, I'm waiting on the market," or waiting for credit changes, anything like that?
Yeah. So I had a lot of people downsizing, thinking about downsizing. That was most of it, really. And then I tried to talk to them about, where do you see yourself next? And what is is it a condo? Is it a bungalow? And then we talked about also location. What location do you prefer to? Where do you see yourself? And so those are some of the things, so I can kind of lead them to envision themselves in the next steps. And I feel like some of them are like ready sooner than later, but they're just giving me that indication that they're not ready yet, or they just feel overwhelmed with the whole process, because especially for elderly, it just seems to be a little bit, because some of them I think have cluttered homes, and so I've offered to come in anyway and have a look, and no expectation. But there were a couple good ones. I just of course I know it's going to be a process, but that's what I just find in my market anyways, that a lot of them are just ready in 2-3 years.
Okay, no, that makes perfect sense. And I love that you discussed where they're going next. That's always been a big topic on this session every Friday is when you're talking to homeowners that are insecure, overwhelmed, anything, talking about where they're going, it evokes a little bit of it doesn't necessarily relax them. That would be too strong of a word, but it leads them down that to where they're willing to talk to you a little bit longer because that's kind of where their head's at is what they're trying to figure out. Now, depending on how that goes, so when you guys are talking about, are you looking at condos? Are you looking at this? A great follow-up a week or two later, and I don't think I've ever shared this, that works really well with that type of scenario, is after you get off the call, a week or two later, you can just easily call them back, pick out a house that you think, or one or two, and I want you to send it to them. I want you to get them on the phone. And I want you to say, John, Mary, I just sent you a couple of houses. I want to go look at a house with you this weekend, and you're not allowed to buy it.
I have no expectations. So
You're not allowed to buy it, and then laugh. Right? It's a funny kind. It is kind of like you are not allowed to buy that house. They were actually going to go buy it anyway. Now, why are you doing that? Why am I advocating that you go spend 3 hours with a brand new client that's obviously a nurture? There is something about the experience of walking through a home that is different than yours, that it just helps them start to crystallize in their mind, this could be real for me. The reason why they don't do it is because they really don't want to have pressure, right? And so after I make the joke and say, hey, I sent you a couple homes. I want to take you on a tour of them or one of them, and you're not allowed to buy it. Ha. And then I'm going to explain to them that this is such a big decision that in my experience, physically walking through new houses in a safe environment is the best way for you to learn what you like and you dislike. So you frame this for them as an experiment for them to learn and experience what they like and dislike about their home, the homes. You will be pleasantly surprised that there will be some of these people that take you up on the offer. Now, some of them are going to be so they're not going to believe you, like that you're not going to force them. And for those, you just are going to have to nurture those. But all of them are not going to be that way. Some of them are going to say, well, I've got this event. Let's do it after that. Great. I'll find you some more. I'll check on you in a couple of weeks. And then we're going to go look at a couple houses, and you're not allowed to buy any of them. It's merely just a fact-finding session for you to start to become aware of where you want to go in this next part of your journey. Now, what you'll find with the ones that walk the property, depending on the weather, after you leave the home, when you're standing outside, if it's cold, you're going to have to figure something else out. But I'll just use the example of it being warm.
It's cold.
So, kidding. Coffee back at the office, or if it's retirement community, maybe they have a model home that you can sit in the living room together, right? So you get the vibe, you're sitting down, and that's when they'll start to talk about the reservations of why they're afraid to sell their home, whether it's, to your point, clutter or the process of moving, what their family thinks, if it's a family home. There's a lot. But, if you wait for them, so here's the call to compassion for you. If you wait for them to come to an awareness on their own, some of them will get there, but a lot of them never will, because we're comfortable. Yeah. We like routine. We like comfort. And to be a catalyst of helping someone come outside of their comfort zone and go on a quote adventure for a moment with their imagination, it is an act of compassion. And this is where like the whole too nice for sales vibe really is based in. There is a way to be a tremendously effective salesperson by maintaining this attitude. And I'm just going to use your example right now of I am helping someone that's probably scared and overwhelmed dip their toe in the realm of possibility. How you talk when you actually believe that sounds different. you're actually going to overcome objections accidentally. You're going to accidentally close them because you're like, think about, we've all had parents or family members that were up in age. If we're trying to get them to try something new, we have to kind of ebb them along sometimes. And that's what you're going to be doing. So just to summarize, I love everything about what you did, your heart, how you handled it. The next phase is a just for fun or exploration day. You're not, and you're going to use the phrase, you are not allowed to buy any of these houses. It's out of the question. We're just going to experience. And my hope would be that they gain comfort with you. There's an element of excitement, and they allow you to come back to their house and start envisioning what it would look like to actually remove some things. And this is where you can apply your resources. So offering, I can help you, accidentally puts pressure on them, right? Because they're not ready yet. Right. And so it's like, well, I don't need help yet. But once they start to envision where they're going to go next, and they allow you into their home, you can look around and say, I could actually have somebody come in and kind of put everything you want on one room, everything you don't want in another, and literally remove it. Obviously you're not going to lead with that, but you get where you're going. You start becoming a problem solver.
Right.
If they were going to take a year to get there on their own, my guess would be you functioning this way with them would probably speed it up to maybe around 6 months. So it's still not overnight, but an August closing is not that far, right? I mean, it's definitely worth your time.
Of course.
So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Give you some direction?
Yeah, that's great.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for being the brave first. All right. Habib, I see your hand up.
Yes, thank you. I was just struggling to come off mute. And so, Barry, this is a very specific instance that I would like to share with you. I had the senior client who I was nurturing for the last few weeks, and she gave me an appointment to meet, do a home viewing, I think, end of next week. And so her situation is that she is up there in her age. She is over 80. And when I spoke to her the few times, she told me that, she was unsure as to how her health is developing. So she wanted to do something about it. And she has a daughter who lives close by and all of that. And I had developed good rapport with her. And we had an appointment set up. And what happened midweek is she dropped me a message. So I shared my personal number with her, saying that if anything happens, just message me and I can quickly reach out to her. So midweek, she dropped me a message saying that she would like to cancel her appointment with me because things have developed well for her, as she said it. She said she was able to sort out a lot of things, and she is in a better place now. And so she doesn't want to have the home viewing appointment. So I responded. I tried calling her. She didn't answer, but then I responded to her message saying that I'm really glad to hear that things have been better for her. And having worked with several senior clients, my advice is to have a plan when things are better rather than wait to be in a position where you have to rush through and things are not as good. And I offered her a free consultation to talk through those elements and see if, for nothing, as a friend, we stay in touch, kind of a thing. And she responded saying that she understands and she's now back in touch with her daughter and they have a plan together. So she doesn't feel it's right for me to get in between, is what she said. And I said, I don't want to. But now I'm actually stumped, partially, because I don't know how to proceed from here. And she told me that, she will refer me to her other friends and all of that. But I'm at an impasse where, I don't know how to further that conversation.
Yeah. I think, I think your response was very cordial. I don't think you're dealing with the decision maker anymore. I think daughter got wind of the plans, and the thing about family getting involved, when family gets involved, their disposition is to support and keep safe. That's why dads are so annoying at home inspections, because they don't know what they're doing, but they are walking around like, hey, this bowl is cracked. And you're like, you're not buying the bowl. Can you put like, it doesn't, like, because their disposition is to try to help. And so whenever I have family involved, I look at their involvement through that optic. And so I'll use a similar but different example. I had a client whose, I think it was her cousin, was a top performing agent in another state. And every time I wanted to do something or gave advice, she would bring up this cousin, wanting to talk to the cousin. And I initially did what most agents do. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm the top agent in my market. Their market is different. Why are they listening to somebody else? And then it hit me one day. I'm never going to be able to compete with 20 years of friendship, a family member, right? My acumen as a professional is never going to trump the emotional weightiness of a family member or a very close friend. So I flipped it on its head. And the way that I flipped it on its head with this cousin was every time this client brought up an idea, I strongly encouraged talking to the cousin. Well, you need to talk to your cousin first. I think, it's obvious that that's a very important relationship for you. And, why don't we do a 3-way call with the cousin? Then I would get the cousin on the phone with the client. This is so important, where you're talking to the both of them. And instead of telling the cousin why their advice was wrong or how my market's different than hers and how I know more about my market than she does, all those things are true. I recognized the fact that she was trying to keep her friends safe. So I went to her for advice in front of the friend. One time I said, I think her name was Mary. Was it? No. Anyway, I'm just going to say it's Mary. Mary, Melissa wants to do XYZ. Obviously you're very good at what you do. And what are your thoughts surrounding that decision? And then Mary would say like, oh, well, my market's a little bit different than yours. Now, why would she respond with what I was thinking the whole time? Because at that point, I gave her the opportunity to be important in front of her family member or friend, right? And in that instance, I took all the power away. And after that, family member, it's not that they weren't involved anymore. It's that it lost the weightiness because I kind of like subjected myself in that snapshot of a moment. And for the rest of my 26-year career, I've always approached family members that way. Mr. Smith, I have my opinions about this roof issue, but I know that you sounds like you've got a lot of experience in this department. What do you think they should do about it? Right? By basically submitting, but instead of sitting at the head of the table, I went to the end of the table and got invited back to the top of the table, right? Like I didn't, which is a parable, by the way. I didn't allow myself to be humbled. I humbled myself and then was exalted back in the relationship. So now let's apply it to this family member. There was a rift, it sounds like, of some kind, or a disagreement of some kind. She wasn't in a good place. She was thinking of selling. Now she reconciled with the daughter and she's decided to stay. What I would have tried to have done is expressed my same as you. I'm so glad things have gotten better. Like I'm happy to hear that. And what I would love to do is talk with you and your daughter about not right now, but whenever you do decide to sell the home, I would love to have a family consultation with the two of you so that I can help you as a family make those decisions. Now, you might not use that exact script, but you understand where I'm going. So we are right now. You've ended, she's kind of like closed the door to that consultative meeting. You offered it. When was this? When did that conversation happen? This morning. Okay. I would wait a few days. And then I'm just shooting from the hip right now, and you can kind of take this idea and run with it. But I would probably reach back out to her and say, we have a new initiative in my office where we're helping families plan generational wealth. I would love to meet with your daughter and you to discuss your long-term plans as a family with regarding all of your real estate needs. And the here is you're planning, inheritance, you're planning, what you're going to do with the equity, you're planning what you're going to do with whether you're going to rent it or sell it, and we're going to encompass it. But I would need to meet with the both of you. Do you happen to have your daughter's phone number or email address? And I can send you some information about it. That kind of a stretch, but you get what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to how to tie the daughter back into the relationship because it is my opinion.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sure. Definitely. Yeah. Thank you for that insight. Yeah.
Absolutely. And for everyone listening, the big idea here is anytime someone brings up another person, they don't even have to say they're helping me decide. They could just be, I've been talking with insert blank. There is a chance that that person is influencing the decision and you are selling your services to the wrong person. And so when you flip that person and that relationship on its head, instead of them staying in the shadows, it's kind of like, let me ask my wife, right? I'm so glad you want to include your wife in this discussion. It's so important. When's the time I can speak to the both of you? I have found it's better for all involved for me to discuss the process with everyone so that everyone's questions can be answered and you are you're not having to relay that over to someone else. And then they normally say something like, I don't know, let me talk to them. Sure, no problem. I'll tell you what I normally do is I normally send either a group email or a group text to offer some times. Do you know how they prefer to receive communication? Would it be via text or email? Now, about a third of people will give you the information. The rest of them are going to say, let me talk to them first. But you at least should try to get the information so that you can start collaborating with the family. Incidentally, with an inheritance situation, this crushes. Like when you have 3 or 4 siblings making a decision, if you can be the agent that brings them all together, you're going to get the sale 9 times out of 10. But if you only get one of the 3, you're hoping that one family member is so influential with the rest of them that they're going to say, this is our agent. And that's just not chances that I'm willing to take. I want to talk to everybody. So hopefully that gives some insight. Edward, I saw that we got 2. We got Edward and we also have the Housemongers. I don't know your name, but Edward's unmuted and then we'll go with the Housemongers. Edward, did you have a question? All right. What's your name, Housemongers? I like your name, by the way.
All right, it's Jeff. I just wanted to second that conversation saying that was awesome because it happens a lot when the decision maker needs to be included and isn't included. And sometimes it's just a screen. It's not even that they really have any background or need for them. They just want to put that up as the potential. And that realtor that's in another state or another province may not have any influence whatsoever. It's just an opportunity for them to put the brakes on.
Yeah. Thank you for acknowledging that. It sounds like you've dealt with this quite often.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. And what's great about this is, again, coming from a place of compassion, our instincts are to be irritated with that third party trying to influence the decision when we realize that more than likely they're just trying to protect that family member, right?
Right.
It changes how we communicate with all the parties. We end up overcoming objections organically. I don't want them to be involved. I think they should be involved. Aren't they important to you? Yeah, they are. Do you value their opinion? Yeah, I do. Well, I should be addressing them as much as you so that we as a committee can decide what's best for you. That language, decide as a committee, having a group session, I'm injecting myself into the decision-making process. I become the teacher, the guide, the leader. Guys, middle of funnel leads. This is really important. Middle of funnel and top of funnel. So what I mean by that are leads that tell you they're 6 to 12 months or longer out. That's middle of funnel, top of funnel. They don't need someone that says something like, how can I help you? Do you have any questions? The middle to the top of funnel lead does not value a person that is willing to answer questions. This is very important because that's kind of what we want to do. We want to be a waiter or a waitress. When would you like to move? How much do you want to sell your home for? Would you like fries with that? Like, that's what we want to do, right? Nothing wrong with being a waiter. Nothing wrong with being a waitress. But if you want to convert middle to top of funnel leads, you have to become the leader in the relationship. But if you try to tell them what to do without gaining their trust, they resist that. So servant leadership is the key here. And when I use the phrase servant leadership, the analogy I like to use is if you were standing on a mountain and you're standing on top of the mountain and yelling to the people at the bottom of the mountain, hey, whenever you're ready, let me know. Hey, if you guys have any questions on how to get up the mountain, just let me know. That's how you're handling your prospect conversations. Oh, are you ready to sell yet? No? Why not? Oh, okay. Well, hey, I'll shoot you an email. You let me know whenever you're ready. I don't want to push you, right? That's typical leadership. Servant leadership, by definition, comes and walks up the mountain together. If you want to convert middle to top of funnel leads, you are going to have to learn how to walk up the mountain with them. And you're going to do that by coming from a place of compassion and not just accepting their answers. They don't value you yet. They only think you're relevant when it's time to stick a sign in the yard. And so your job is to create an awareness of the many things that they don't know yet. By asking really good questions, you surface their ignorance. And as they either use words to express their ignorance or the way they deliver, right? So if they say, oh, and then they answer, their delivery shows a lack of certainty. When you hear that in the words they say or the manner with which they deliver the communication, that is your moment to acknowledge the fact that they're not ready yet. And you celebrate that lack of preparedness. And you talk about your value during the period of time that they're not ready. And what is still working, and I bring it up every week because it's still working, is we tell people the best time for me to meet with you is when you're not ready. You are going to waste money doing things and fixing things that will not return an investment. You'll fix light switches and paint rooms, and you won't increase the sales price. My job before you're ready to sell is walk the property to ensure that you don't waste money on things. Guys, people love saving money. And this hits home for them. They're like, yeah, I'm not ready. And I do think I need to fix a lot of stuff. So I would love to have a realtor shorten that list. And then while you're there, the conversation flows effortlessly into talking about marketing and listing and all that other stuff. Oh, you're welcome, Victor. Thank you for the kind words. And yes, smoke screen versus objections. That's exactly right. All right. Well, listen, you guys have a fantastic weekend. Make sure you're back next Friday. We'll dive deep on some new objections. The name of the book, Maya, is Too Nice for Sales. And it's on Amazon. It stays in the top 20, which is so fun. Anyway, have a fantastic weekend. And Karen, I think we are all collectively jealous of wherever you are. It's beautiful. So, all right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Happy Friday. Let's go take all this amazing stuff from Barry and apply. Your CSMs and the team will reach out to you next week, see how everything is going. They are recorded. Jeff, you can expect to see it on the Facebook group and the university. You can ask support if you have any questions about it. Thanks, everyone. Have a great time.